Okay, I'm about to make chocolate chip muffins. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 cup of milk to my saucepan. And as you can see, this milk is at 49 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm just going to heat it up to about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Heat it up to, and then what I've done is I'm preheating my oven to 425 degrees. So while I'm heating up my milk to room, you want to heat it up to room temperature, which is about 75 degrees. Room temperature is about 75 degrees. So while I'm heating up my milk, I'm going to add 3 cups of all-purpose flour to my bowl. All right, that's 2 cups. Just gonna add 1 more cup. It's my 3rd cup. Then I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of baking powder to my flour. Three teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, so my milk is about 80 degrees, so now I'm just gonna shut it off. Shut it off and slide it off my eye, because it's now 80 degrees. One, 2, 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Ooh, yeah, they watching that game. 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. Half a teaspoon of salt. One teaspoon of ground cinnamon. McCormick ground cinnamon. One-fourth of a teaspoon of nutmeg, of ground nutmeg. One-fourth of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Now I'm just going to incorporate mix all my dry ingredients together. I'm gonna set it aside. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 1/3 of a cup, 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Got 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And I'm gonna melt it into this saucepan right here. I'm gonna turn my saucepan on and I'm gonna melt it into this saucepan. Okay, so I'm just gonna melt this butter into the saucepan. I'm melting the butter into the saucepan right here. And while I'm melting that butter, to this bowl, I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. Third of a cup of vegetable oil. Two eggs. Two eggs. And then after I add the eggs, I'm gonna whisk everything together to break the yolks. Break the yolks. Then I'm gonna add 1 cup of Domino's granulated sugar to this. One cup of Domino's granulated sugar. And I'm going to whisk that into it. My butter's almost melted. My butter's almost melted. See, my butter's melted. So then I'm going to add my melted butter to this. Whisk it in. Whisk in my melted butter. Whisk my melted butter in. So now I'm going to add the 1 cup of milk that I brought to room temperature. The 1 cup of milk. Whisk that in. Incorporate that a little bit. Then I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of sour cream. Yep, 1/3 of a cup of sour cream. Overtime. Got 1/3 of a cup of sour cream. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of my pure homemade vanilla extract. This is my pure homemade vanilla extract. See, these are Madagascar. Those are Madagascar vanilla beans from Madagascar. So I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of this to my mixture. I'm just going to whisk it and incorporate all this. It should be like a pale yellow color, like it is. See, that's perfect. That's what you want. That's a pale yellow color that you want. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my wet ingredients to my dry ingredients. I'm just going to kind of gradually fold them in. And then I'm just going to whisk it. I'm going to use my whisk after I fold it, and then I'm going to whisk it. Try to get rid of as many lumps as I can. So it's nice and smooth. Yep, I'm just going to whisk it, and as you can see, it's nice and smooth. That means my oven's ready. It's preheated to 425. So now that it's nice and smooth, and as you can see, there's no lumps, it's nice and smooth. I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. 1.5 cups of semi-sweet Nestle Toll House chocolate chips. 1.5 cups of my chocolate chips. And I'm just going to fold this into the dough. I'm going to fold this into my batter, my mixture. Till it's all evenly incorporated. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my muffin liners. These are called muffin liners. I'm going to put them in there. I'm going to put them in each one of my spots. And then I'm going to take, now there's I have two different sizes ice cream scoops. These are one is for cookies and these are for muffins, the larger size. I forget which size this is, but it's a little larger for an ice cream scoop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my ice cream scooper, scoop out a little bit of batter. Then I'm just going to release it into each cup. And I'm going to put these in the oven and I'm going to let these bake at 425 degrees for 25 to 26 minutes until the tops are lightly golden brown and the centers are set. So until you can stick a Q-tip in it and it comes out. And that's your chocolate chip muffins. That's what you want.